it seems like everyone and their mother is coming out of the woodwork to cut promos for not Wrestlefest 2, so I figured I'd join in the festivities. But I want to comment on the other promos, because frankly, they're cliche, they're unimaginative, and they're terrible. You start with a guy like Andrew Wright, and him cutting a promo in and of itself is just terrible. It's all he knows how to do is cut promos and get hurt, so you figure he's going to have to chime in. Then you have no less than 3 different guys cutting promos where they list things. Centofonte and Roberts prove that they can count. Dave Auburn proves that he's a big fan of things that devastate African Americans. And Ian Finnegan proves that he's a miserable fuck. For a guy who hates wrestling and hates everyone so much, Ian really loves to talk about wrestling and everyone in it. And Ian, I have to be honest, I watched your promo 3 times. But that's not because it was good. The first time, I was just watching it hoping someone was going to walk in and rip that fucking ugly thing out of your nose the whole time. And the second time, I started to watch it, and then I was far too mesmerized by the cat in your signature eating its own boogers than by your promo. And then the third time I actually watched it, and I chuckled, but still, not a very important promo. It's basically you just sitting there being a miserable cunt. After Ian was basically the main promo in all of this, and that's the promo that Joey Tornado cut. Joey Tornado talks not Wrestlefest 2, which launched the whole Midwest to make promos that were called blah 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 talks not Wrestlefest 2. Joey, you're the worst talker of all time. Please never cut any promos ever again. They're awful. You sit in your basement, and you're apathetic and unenthusiastic, and on top of it all, you look like an emo kid grew up and became a rapist. The most unenthusiastic rapist of all time. Whoever your opponent is, and I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, I hope they beat the shit out of you for cutting horrible promos. And that launched the whole Midwest to cut terrible promos. Terrible, unimaginative promos. You have Joe Randa being a mediocre third baseman for the Kansas City Royals in the early 2000s. Devin Bliss, of course, comes on and talks about himself and how great he is. And Shooter has nothing important to say, as usual. And then that causes TJ Blade to jump in and try to be funny and fail at it, as usual. And ultimately, it brings us to the last promo of Folklin. Folklin, you look like a bad horror movie. Oh, look at me, I'm Folklin. I'm edgy and cool and dark because nobody appreciates me. And I have a sleeping problem. Leave it at home. It's terrible. Cut the crap and just be normal. I don't care about your half A's and all that crap. Just, it's enough. Okay? We appreciate you. You don't have to be all goth about it. And then the last thing I want to say in this promo is I actually should address my opponent, Triple R. Triple R, you're like the Jimmy Hart of backyard wrestling. You're fidgety, you're annoying, you're like a fly that needs to be swatted, and come not Wrestlefest 2, I plan on bringing the fly swatter.